How's it going, kiddos? Handsome Jack Boy here, bringing you guys the 8th episode of my Borderlands Dust Waste Pearlescent Weapons Guide. And in this episode, I'm going to be covering the Oneshot. The Oneshot is a Hyperion sniper rifle, and the prefix for mine is PPZ 500.0 Crimson Oneshot. The prefix for you guys might change. Now, as you can see there in the red text, it says, "I am a single bullet." So the Oneshot is a pretty complex weapon when it comes to its stats and its unique effect and everything. But it's one of the most satisfying guns that I've used in this game, period. And you guys will definitely see that here in the footage. And speaking of the footage, let's actually get right into it, since there's a pretty big list of pros and cons to go over. Alright, so bear with me here while I go over the Oneshot and its stats and what makes it unique. And shout out to Grimjow, aka the creator of the Dust Waste Arsenal, for lending me a hand with these guides and, you know, giving me the details on these guns. Because without him, I really wouldn't know the exact details on these guns and, you know, what makes them tick. So thank you, man, if you're watching this. But anyways, so the first thing that I want to point out is that every part on this gun is custom, except its unique parts are its scope, barrel, and material. Its barrel being a unique model. Now, technically, since all the parts are custom, they are unique. Now, technically, all the parts on this gun are unique since they are custom, so you can definitely classify it as such. Also, the stock body, accessory, and magazine can be different on each model. So that's that for you guys out there that are, you know, parts savvy. But anyways, getting into the pros and cons for the Oneshot. Starting with the pros. Now, this first one is kind of a double-edged sword. It could either be a pro or a con. It really just kind of comes down to how good your aim is. But this thing has picture-perfect 100% accuracy. And while your shots will stay within the center of your reticule every time, you can see how that could be a bad thing, how it could be a double-edged sword, and that, you know, you really have to be a bit more cautious where you're shooting. If you're not exact spot on with your target, you might not hit them. It really kind of depends on your target, you know, the size of your target and everything as well. Now, with that 100% accuracy also comes perfect 100% recoil reduction. It is a recoilless rifle. Now, you may have noticed so far that this thing does live up to its name in that it shoots one shot. And of course, that one shot is really powerful. So the damage on this thing is just insane, and it basically shoots these custom projectiles called HVAPs, which basically stands for High Velocity Armor Piercing Discarding Sabot. And as you can see, it does have a custom tracer, which represents the heat of the shot being fired. Along with the insanely high damage output, it also has a high critical hit damage modifier, a staggering plus 500% on top of the base damage. Now, the Oneshot that I'm using in this footage does not have a elemental effect. However, you can get one with a elemental effect. This thing can come in all elements, and if it does spawn with one, it gains a massive tech pool enhancement, giving it a ×4 to the elemental effect. It does get a very slight increase to its weapon zoom as well, and the bullet speed of this weapon is pretty insane. Each bullet travels at a staggering 100,000 in-game clicks, and if you compare that to the bullet velocity of your standard old sniper rifle, which is 30,000 clicks, there is a pretty big difference there. Now, the last couple things here aren't really necessarily pros nor cons. They're just kind of there to make this weapon even cooler. Same goes with the tracer. It doesn't really affect anything, at least I don't think. It's just there for eye candy. It also has custom sound effects from the Gears of War 3 Oneshot, which if you guys don't know, this gun is actually a reference to the Gears of War 3 Oneshots. That's where it kind of originates. But credit goes to Insane Bonaldo for porting those custom sounds. And lastly, you guys might have noticed, but it has a custom scope texture, and credit goes to X-Spider for making that. Now, excluding a few of those were pretty much just the pros of the weapon. There still are the cons left, and I probably should have done the cons first. I mean, at this point, just watching the footage, you probably already know what some of the cons are. But I'll try to go through this pretty quick. So, of course, the first major con of the weapon is, well, the fact that it only shoots one shot, and then you have to reload. Now, the reloading process is painstakingly slow, which you may have noticed, and there is a way to shorten the reload time just by a little bit. You see me do it quite a few times in this footage. I think I do it right here, but you basically just don't have to wait for the reload animation to finish. Right when the ammo gauge shows that you've put a fresh clip in, then that means you can cut the animation short by meleeing. That's what I do. You can of course cancel this in several ways, but meleeing is the easiest way to cancel it. Something else that's really slow is your movement speed. You may have noticed that my character's movement speed has been extremely slow with this gun equipped, which is intentional. It is supposed to represent a really heavy sniper rifle. Another thing with this weapon is that it shoots 5 bullets per shot. It may show that there's 1 bullet in the clip and actually consumes the rest from your ammo. And the rate of fire is also non-existent at 0.1, just in case anyone manages to get 2 shots off of this thing, which I don't know how you can do that. I don't think class mods like the support gunner really can increase that. I'd like to actually figure out a way to do that. That'd be awesome. But there we go, that pretty much covers pros and cons of this weapon. And holy hell, that took a while. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it would pretty much take up most of the video. So I'll quickly just give you guys a brief rundown of what I think of this weapon. But my opinion about the one-shots, I can't deny that this thing is one of my favorite weapons from the Dustwaste collection. It's just amazing, man, I tell you. Again, this thing is probably the most satisfying gun I've used in Borderlands. By that, I mean in all of Borderlands. I don't know what it is exactly. I think it's the fact that, you know, you only have 1 shot to make it count, unless you somehow increase the magazine size. But even then, it's just it's a risk versus reward weapon, and I think that's what's so exciting about it. Just seeing the enemy completely evaporate in front of you, and knowing just how much power this gun has behind that 1 shot is another thing. You know, it's just that feeling that you get, you know. But it's for sure one of the most unique weapons I've ever seen in Borderlands. And just with the sheer amount of stats and everything that this gun has, obviously taking up almost the entire video, definitely goes to show that this thing was a lot of work to put together. So props to Grimjow for making this thing and pulling it off. And, you know, really same goes for the rest of his weapons and items in his arsenal. You know, there's some other really complicated ones that took him a while. And, you know, the fact that he did it all for us, for the Borderlands community, is just awesome. So I hope you guys appreciate, you know, what he does and what, you know, the rest of the custom content community does for this game, and also for Borderlands 2, since Borderlands 2 is definitely starting to get some of that stuff as well. Anyways though, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. This was definitely a longer guide. It took quite a bit of time, so, you know, I hope you guys like this one. I normally don't say this, but if you guys enjoyed this, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. I just want to see how many of you guys appreciate the guides, and it also just gives me more motivation to do more of these guides for you guys, because sometimes they are a pain in the ass to do, even though sometimes they may not seem like it. But yeah, like I said, that's going to wrap it up. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'm out of here. Peace!